Good to go.
We're the only two. Does someone want a time key?
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Go for it.
Did you know that Newcastle has the highest per capita artists in Australia? We're also a post-industrial town. What if there was a way to connect these two?
Hi, I'm Tim the Tiler, and every week I'm spending money to dispose of waste tiles.
I'm Sarah the sculptor. I need some tiles to make mosaics, but I don't have much money to buy them new.
So wastage of products such as tiles, but obviously not limited to that, is a serious problem. We talked to Oak Brothers Tiles down the road, and every year they're paying to get rid of 20 tonnes of tiles. Now that could go to someone else.
They did say that they would rather distribute it to school students or artists to make mosaics than get it crushed up to make road pieces. So there are a lot of groups that could benefit from this. Community gardens, community organisations, schools, educational institutions, competitions, hackfests if you're prototyping. So it does have a big need.
Alright, and the solution is ReFind. So ReFind is an online marketplace that connects waste producers with waste reusers. So you can jump online. If you have a bunch of waste that you need to get rid of, you can list it. It'll be tagged with all the properties of it. And as our user base grows and we increase like the knowledge base of reuse, it'll be tagged with alternative uses that you can put this waste to. It'll be location based, and you'll be able to tag whether or not that you're willing to drop it off to someone who will take it from you, or if they need to come and pick it up as well.
So today we've got a bit of customer feedback, both from waste producers and waste reusers. As Tim mentioned, we spoke to Oak Brothers Tiles, who have 20 tonnes of tiles a year that at the moment is being crushed up to use underneath tar for roads. We also spoke to Donna at the Hunter Design Company, and Donna had so many ideas and uses so many products at the moment that she spends her time scouring the streets for to find second-hand materials to reuse in her art and also in her interior design. So she had a part in these shipping containers you see here. She got both of them sourced and delivered for $500. She also had a part in the plastic that you've seen that's been separating all the co-working spaces. That was actually rescued from a warehouse where it was sitting there because it was unusable because of a colour malfunction during production. She managed to source that at a very low cost, and now it's been transformed into an amazing co-working space. We also spoke to David, who is working at Feedback Recovery, and he uses all second-hand products to build vertical gardens, self-watering garden beds and other urban agriculture projects. He uses pallets that he sources for free. At the moment he spends about a day a week calling around to his networks to say, do you have this, I need this, how can I get this? Okay, great, I'll come and pick it up, and working it out. ReFind would mean that he can go online and see who's got it at what time and put in an order to collect that. One of the things about ReFind is that we've been looking at ways to monetize it. Basically, how could it make revenue? There were lots of streams we had. You can advertise on your website, or you can charge a subscription. So similar to something like Spotify, if you paid $10 a month to have access to this, to get to be able to order from people, the manufacturers and the end users as well, or the reusers, would pay a subscription and then have unlimited access to the linking system. If we had 667 users, we would make $80,000, which was the break-even point we assessed based on our team's skills and what we could contribute to the project. There are other opportunities for revenue as well. So grants from the Office of Environment and Heritage. Council might be interested because it could reduce their waste destruction costs as well. Potentially corporate partnerships. Now the awesome thing about ReFind is that it solves a problem that exists in Newcastle at the moment. There are artists who want to make things from recycled products, but they can't find them. And there are people who are paying money to get people to come and collect their waste when they could be getting rid of it for free to someone who's going to use it for something positive. So not only does it have environmental benefits, but it also solves a problem. So ReFind, waste not, want yes.
Any questions?
Yeah, on the business model side of things, I'd think a lot about the cost savings to the company, because they're the ones that are currently paying out the money. Solutions that I've seen with companies at the moment where they find someone, it's quite often somebody, the scavenger, if you like, identifies someone who's paying the waste and comes up with an option to take it off their hands for free. And then once that's done, that kind of deal's locked in until the scavenger no longer wants it, really. So there's probably a bit more you could play with on the business model side, I think. Yeah, but yeah, it's a good service.
I like the idea. There is definitely a supply and demand mismatch. So when you're dealing with a contractor who's got bulk goods and someone who is wanting to do small artwork, how are they going to handle 1 tonne of waste tile? Good pattern though.
Would you consider if a company has waste and they can't find a buyer for it, now they've just got literal garbage, and is there any process that you might facilitate? What happens then?
So the point of this app and the way that it differs from, say, Gumtree is that the transfer is free. So there's no payment for materials. It's just that the person will come and collect them for free, which saves the manufacturer basically the cost of getting rid of that waste. It works on a demand model, so you can make a listing, but if no one demands that product, then it's still your rubbish to get rid of. And in this way, rather than saying having a warehouse space where it sits there before you know that someone wants it, this assesses the demand. And if no one wants the thing or can think of a project to use it for, then it's still waste.
So the onus would then be on the waste owner to keep it listed for as long as possible, but they're up against constraints on them.
Yeah.
Also, have you thought about the you'll be essentially undermining a whole industry of waste removalists, how you might throw them a bone, maybe for transfer of materials?
It's not undermining, it's disruption. And yeah, in terms of that, like there's obviously possibilities for linking to actual waste disposal companies, but then you have to be careful because there's sort of potentially a conflict of interest whereby your job is to find a buyer for this garbage, not to make them go and pay someone else. So if you're advertising for those sorts of companies or even linking or trying to get a commission or something like that, then it gets sort of dicey. But yeah.
The other consideration with that is they might want to list stuff that they've found, and so they might it might be worth their while rather than putting it in their landfill site, and if it's getting full, distributing it in another way. And this would be a system where it would cost them very little, and it would just be a matter of someone saying, okay, I'll just spend 2 minutes to make a listing and see if it wants to go because I'm running out of landfill space.
You might find that they maintain their business model and then they're the people who list and they've got a whole category of stock.
Well, yeah, could generate a new business.
Yeah.
Which is the warehouse that you mentioned.
It turns them into all of a sudden a resource centre.
The biggest risk point that I can see is just the waste stream separation.
Yes, that's what I know as well.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, it's kind of relates a little bit to that. I had a question about liability. So if you've got like a big stack of timber, someone comes to pick up on site. What if someone puts their hand on a nail goes through their hand? Who's responsible?
Yeah, so because it's linking, so we're giving, basically once they put the order through and say, yes, I want this, we'll give them the contact details, which is why they would have a subscription. And that linking of the two users, we haven't, as an app, done anything. I guess we'd have liability insurance and whatnot, but haven't.
You guys might not be liable, but is the company or is the individual?
It's essentially like Gumtree. If you go in and
It's
pick
on
up a
there.
couch,
It's on
and
there
do
now.
that,
Pick up a
It's
couch,
provided.
Yeah.
if you do your back end, picking up someone's couch,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's just it's an already existing problem
Yeah.
that no one solved it.
Yeah, there is a risk like with manufacturing sites, like with OH&S and stuff, and if you're on a loading dock and you don't know how like, policies around forklifts or something, and that's where I guess the manufacturing company would have to assess whether they can have people on their site collecting
They
stuff.
wouldn't just go and say, it's over there, go and grab it,
Yeah.
and you have
Yeah.
to filter through all this other
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a balance of the cost, whether it's worth someone's time to facilitate that rather than paying for someone to go it out.
Thanks.
Well done. Is that usually or